Let me bring in two members of Congress to discuss the state of play and what should be going on with this, but also something else very, very important. Democratic member of Congress Adam Smith, Republican member of Congress Anna Paulina Luna. And I say your name slow to give you more due, APL, because I believe you will both agree, because I know Adam cares about this issue also. Nothing burns the heinies of the American people like knowing that people in Congress get to trade stocks even when the companies come before them in committees. And we're all looking at Quiver, Quantitative, and the other sites, and it's been a big deal for us here at News Nation. And today you did something about it, Anna Paulina Luna. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so we were actually being told that we, as members, could not engage in the committee hearing on banning insider trading, that the amendment process for if there was a bill brought to the floor would be closed, so we couldn't partake in that. Not to mention that there is a massively bipartisan bill, the bill that I actually filed the discharge petition on, that has over 100 members of Congress, both Democrat and Republican, signed on to, and they actually wanted to get that watered down and send something to the floor that would, frankly, still allow it to happen. So we filed the discharge petition. As you know, Chris, I've actually been pretty successful of that. My Democrat colleague here knows about that. The last one we did was on proxy voting for new parents. But ultimately, we believe, I believe that, you know, when you have members of Congress that are getting 600% returns, members of Congress that have served over 20, 30 years getting 17,000% returns, it's statistically not possible, and you can never truly represent the interests of the American people when you're betting against the markets and worried about your own stock portfolio. So we're trying to ban it.
Brother Smith, do you agree, and what do you think about resistance to this idea?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we should ban stock trading by members of Congress and limit their ability to do that. I think the problem is overstated in terms of the number of members who are doing it and the amount of success that they have had. And I worry about the reputation of the institution of Congress. The overwhelming majority of members, we get paid our salary, we go to work. I think we make a difference for the American people. I don't want to taint the entire institution, but that's part of the reason why it's so important to pass this bill. Is to eliminate that possibility of undue influence in influencing stock prices. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. I hope it passes.
It takes only one or two stinky fish to make the whole garbage bin reek. That's why it is an important thing. So I'm glad that you guys did it. I'm glad that there's bipartisan buy-in. It shows that people are listening to what Americans are so outraged about. Okay, so now something that's more controversial. And feel free to correct my assertions. I'm not as interested in the first strike, second strike, because I'm more interested in the overall architecture of why the American military is set up outside of Venezuela. APL, do you believe that it is Congress's job to have the administration come to them and make the case before having 10% of our military off the shore of Venezuela?
Well, the fact is that 10% of our military has been in a number of places over the last several decades. Obviously, Congress is the only authority to approve war. However, I think in this instance, specifically on some of the security briefings, as well as what the president deems as an immediate threat to the American people, which is protected under his Article 1 authorities, I think that he's still acting within his right. I know that we'll probably have some disagreement here, but what I will tell you and what I will continue to say is a lot of the intelligence that they're getting specifically from these narco traffickers. Not to mention, a lot of people fail to realize, and I'm sure probably, Chris, you might not even know this, but to my knowledge, when Marco Rubio was in Senate, he actually had a hit put out on him by Nicolas Maduro. I don't think many people know that. And so, in my opinion, the government of Venezuela has been actively engaging in what I would say is assassination attempts against sitting U.S. officials, and I don't think it's going to end well for them.
Adam Smith, what's your concern?
Well, first of all, that last point, I mean, that's a pretty strong charge to make. We need clear evidence of that if we're going to be acting on it militarily, not just an assertion. So I'd be really interested in seeing the evidence on that. But look, I think it's a real problem the president doesn't have authority. You mentioned some of these other wars. Those other wars at least had some authority. Congress passed an authorization for the use of force, rightly or wrongly, in 2001 and 2002. There is no authorization for this. And the president does not actually have Article 1 authority. He has Article 2 authority. Article 1 authority is supposed to be ours. It's supposed to be Congress. So yes, I think the president has not gotten the proper authority, and this does not meet the Article 2 test of an imminent threat of people getting ready to attack the United States of America or United States interests. And that's what's interesting about this boat strike. You know, once you have two people clinging to the side of a boat, it's very clear that they are no longer a threat. But even before that, a boat going through the water with cocaine in it, what is the exact military threat to the U.S. that justifies lethal force in that context? So I think it should go through Congress, and I don't think the president has the authority to be doing this right now.
Look, I have to be honest, Anna, if I'm arguing the case, I like your side of it, because who wants to defend drug dealers? You know, Venezuela, though, to have this much force and the president suggesting he's going to have a land incursion soon, that sounds a lot like war to me. Does it not to you?
I think if the president is intent on declaring war, I think that he'll come to Congress first. But again, I don't support any narco traffickers, and I would do a heck of a lot worse if I was sitting president to people trying to bring drugs into this country that are intentionally killing Americans. And I'm pretty sure everyone here agrees that we don't want to defend narco traffickers. But remember, Barack Obama did the same thing with drone strikes, and it wasn't an issue. So I feel like no matter what this administration does, there's always going to be critique from many sides. But again, I mean, I support the president, what he's doing with this. This is not just, you know, me sitting here because I'm a Republican. I was in the military. I know the people that are putting together the packages for those strikes. I know them personally from my time in service. And so I will say that there are briefings available to members of Congress specifically that can outline this stuff. But again, before there would be any declaration of war, which you know, Chris, I'm definitely an anti-interventionist in many perspectives. So I obviously don't want to go to war with any country currently right now. I think that it's ultimately up to Congress to decide.
Two things about that. Number one, what is the mission? Is the mission to stop drugs coming into the U.S., or is the mission to overthrow the Maduro regime? And you alluded to this earlier, but what are we doing pardoning a convicted drug dealer from Honduras while we're saying, oh my gosh, we have to go after Maduro because he's involved in drug trading? They've actually said, oh, Maduro is an indicted, you know, he has been indicted for smuggling drugs in U.S. court. Well, the guy in Honduras was convicted in U.S. courts for that. So that's problem number one. Problem number two, on the drug dealer point, no one wants to defend a drug dealer. I'm going to defend a drug dealer. But are we in favor of the death penalty for drug dealers? And are we also in favor of the death penalty without any due process whatsoever? Okay? I mean, is that the country we want to live in? If this is a problem, because there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of crime in America. Do we want to adopt a set of rules that says the president can execute whoever he wants, and he does not have to provide anybody any evidence, any probable cause, any due process? He can just kill whoever he wants, whenever he wants. That's not defending drug dealers. Because remember, you have to actually prove that they are drug dealers, certainly before you kill them, but even before you try them. So are we going to be a country that says, no, we don't care about the law. Whoever's in charge, you kill whoever you want to kill. And go ahead and defend it. I mean, that's not defending drug dealers. That's defending constitutional rights.
I just think it's the job of Congress to have this debate on this issue, and I'm hoping that the Speaker of the House starts seeing it that way. I saw you nodding your head, Anna Paulina Luna. If it were up to you unilaterally, I would probably be in jail for the rest of my life in terms of how you want to see certain behaviors punished.
Look, I have a pretty low tolerance for people that traffic, and an even lower tolerance for people that are engaged in narco trafficking because of what they're doing to their community, their country, and other people. So if it were up to me, I'd probably have some of the perspectives that they hold in you know, parts of the Middle East where you'd basically go to jail or be executed for trafficking. Ultimately, though, you know, there are FISA courts that can pick up information if we find out that these people are in talks with Americans. Potentially, we don't know specifically what they're authorizing. But if it's being tied to that, I highly doubt, and I will confirm, but I highly doubt that these are being made just willy-nilly. But again, you know,
listen, I don't think it's willy-nilly.
Exhausting.
But
yeah,
I'm not saying it's random.
Intelligence to us.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. It's just they should provide it. They should make the case. It should be transparent. That's all.
And they haven't.
All right, I got to jump. I know they should. I believe they should.
So we'll see.
All right. Anna Paulina Luna,
Thanks,
if anybody
Cuomo.
can make it happen, you will. I appreciate you. Thank you for doing the work of the American people. Thank you for being together. Adam Smith, thank you for showing my audience that right and left can come together. You don't have to agree, but you don't have to be disagreeable. Thank you both. Take care of yourselves.